Jake Paul, love him or hate him, you can't deny that he's making waves in both the entertainment and boxing industries. But the big question on everyone's mind is, just how much money is he making from these fights? First, let's talk about the fight purse. This is the guaranteed money a fighter gets just for stepping into the ring, win, lose, or draw. It's like their base salary, the bare minimum they're walking away with. For your average everyday fighter, this could be their main source of income for the fight. But Jake Paul, he's not your average fighter. For his most recent fight, reports suggest his base purse was around $2 million. $2 million just to show up. And we haven't even gotten to the knockouts or the pay-per-view points yet. This is where things get really interesting. Think about that for a second. $2 million. That's more money than most people will see in their lifetime. And he's getting it just for putting on the gloves and stepping into the ring. Love him or hate him, the man brings in the viewers, and that's what matters in the fight game. The more people want to see you fight, the more you're worth. Now let's add pay-per-view revenue. This is where the big bucks come in, and this is where a guy like Jake Paul really cleans up. Boxing events rake in huge money from PPV sales. We're talking millions and millions of dollars, and Jake's fights are no different. In fact, they're probably at the top of the heap when it comes to PPV buys. It's estimated that Jake gets a cut of the pay-per-view sales, anywhere between 50% to 70%. Now imagine for a second you're Jake Paul. You're sitting in your mansion, watching the fight numbers roll in, knowing that a huge chunk of that is going straight into your pocket. For his last fight, which reportedly sold around 500,000 PPV buys at $60 a pop, we're talking another $15 million in Jake's pocket. That's on top of his $2 million base salary. So before we even get to endorsements or merch, we're already talking about $17 million for a single night's work. It's insane. Chapter 3. From the ring to the bank. Sponsorships and endorsements. Now, this is where the real money is made in any sport, but especially in combat sports. These fighters, they're modern-day gladiators, and companies kill to have their brands associated with that kind of image. And Jake Paul? With his reach, his social media following, and his bad boy persona, he's a walking billboard. Companies love being associated with Jake's fights because of his massive reach. He can reach millions of people with a single tweet. You see his shorts, his gloves, the banners around the ring? Those aren't just there for decoration, man. Those are multi-million-dollar deals, each one representing a company that's willing to shell out big bucks to be associated with Jake Paul. Add in another $1 to $2 million from brand deals, and the numbers just keep climbing. Chapter 4. Merch Madness, from t-shirts to millions. And we can't forget about his merch. Every fighter has merch these days, but Jake Paul, he's taken it to another level. He's turned his name, his face, his whole brand into a money-making machine. He's got his own clothing line and he promotes it heavily before and after fights. You see it everywhere. His fans wearing his shirts, his hats, carrying his brand. He understands that it's not just about winning fights, it's about building a brand, creating a loyal following, and then giving them something to buy into. Some sources estimate he could make another $500,000 to $1 million from merchandise sales alone. That's more than most people make in a year, just from selling t-shirts and hats. Chapter 5. Adding it up, the final tally. So, let's add it all up. We've got a $2 million fight purse, at least $15 million from pay-per-view, another couple of million in sponsorships, and at least $500,000 from merch sales. Between his fight purse, PPV earnings, sponsorships, and merchandise, Jake Paul likely earned around $18 to $20 million from his latest fight. That's more than most professional boxers make in their entire careers. We're talking about a guy who, just a few years ago, was making YouTube videos in his basement. And now, he's pulling in 8 figures for a single fight. It's mind-blowing, but it also tells you something about the power of social media, the power of building a brand, and the power of hustle. Whether you think Jake Paul is good for the sport of boxing or not, one thing's for sure, he knows how to turn every fight into a massive payday. He understands the game, man. It's not just about boxing, it's about entertainment, it's about building a brand, and it's about connecting with an audience. And with more fights likely on the horizon, it looks like his bank account is only going to keep growing. He's young, he's hungry, and he's only getting started. What do you think? Is Jake Paul's success in boxing deserved, or is it all just hype? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more updates on